ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. This one is a different one, special one. We're going to have a little discussion. Me, you, and the best boy in town, Ampu. We're gonna have a discussion about women over 30 and men dating in general. So this video is not everyone's cup of tea. There won't be TikToks and stupid women. The only stupid person in this video will be me. So rest assured, guys, you won't lose a lot of sales by watching. But without further ado, let's get started. We have the footage of lovely couples in the back because I'm sure none of you have noticed, but for the last 6 months, I've been playing the same video game footage because I haven't had time to play. So I'm sure none of you noticed, but today I said, you know what, maybe someone will. So we'll have this as a background. And now I want to share a personal story that happened to me that I think will be interesting to make a general point, a general observation. So let me start by saying that I went with my work environment, with the people there, with my colleagues, to a team building event, and we had a reservation at a restaurant, so I had my place there on the table, but because I left, around the table rather, but because I left, someone took my place and I came back later. It was crowded, there was no places left for me. Nobody cared enough to make a place for me, and because I don't care enough either, because I'm a loner and I have no problem with being antisocial, I just went outside the restaurant in one of the tables out there to eat there, to have lunch there. And this woman, this colleague, alright, saw me by coincidence, and she immediately rushed to me and said, "Oh, Hidan, how can you be here alone? Please walk inside, come with all of us, we'll make place for you." Because I told her many times, no, I've been there, it's crowded, okay, we can't do anything about it, I don't mind, I don't care, don't worry. But she insisted multiple times, like, we'll make place, don't worry about it, let's just get you inside. She was so, like I was her child, you know, like I was her kid. She was so invested in making me feel good and making me feel part of, you know, the team. And it really stuck out, this behavior, because none of the other people cared, right? Ah, you lost your spot, don't care at all. But this one woman just cared so much, was so, I don't know, interested in my well-being. And it wasn't anything romantic at all, it was just friendly behavior. She would have done this to any other person. But these are the kind of things that men value. And when you're in a committed relationship with a man, if you do that sort of behavior of being friendly, being supportive, being nurturing, showing that you care about him, he's literally ready to die for you, all right? He's ready to walk the earth, fight an army. He's willing to do anything for you if you do that. So this behavior really, I remember it. And yesterday it happened to be this woman's birthday, and it was when I learned that she is 28. Which shocked me because she looks like she's 24, all right? Looks really young. And then I started to think about, you know, the type of women I cover on my channel when they reach that age of 28. She's single, by the way, I forgot to mention. When they reach that age, I, you know, always assume that, hey, you've been messing around, you have been walked through, and you don't deserve a man. Now, of course, that is a generalization, and this is what I came to speak here today. This woman, guys, my colleague, that is, she is traditional. It's clearly obvious that she doesn't have a large body count. It's clearly obvious that she hasn't been messing around. Again, she's really traditional, really friendly. She always has a smile on her face. She's really polite also. Like all the mannerisms, everything, the way she dresses, everything about her is just traditional, polite, well-mannered. And not only that, but it's like, even when people are making jokes, so for example, S3X jokes, she doesn't want to be included in them because she doesn't want to ruin her reputation in this way of people thinking that she's easy, or people thinking that, yeah, she's been run through, or things like that. So not even jokes, all right? This woman doesn't want to be involved in all that hookup culture in the slightest, like not even joking about it, right? And it's not because she doesn't want to ruin her reputation, because it's all smoke and mirrors, because, you know, she's just such big of a narcissist. No, it's because she's just a traditional woman and she doesn't want to be involved with that. And all of this to say that this woman, even though she's 28, there's just no problem that she is of 28 and single, right? I think that a lot of men will look at that and don't care in the slightest. You know, because usually, yes, there is this saying that goes around that at nearly 30 they hit the wall and stuff like that. But I think it's an individual case, alright? In most of the cases of women like these, yes, it's because they've been messing around, it's because they've been going to the clubs, receiving attention, validation, caring about nonsense. But in this woman, it's clearly not the case. So, of course, again, it begs the question, well, Hidan, if she is such a great catch, why is she single, man? Why hasn't she found somebody? And my guess is, well, maybe it could be high standards. It's obviously not high body count or something along those lines. I'm guessing it's high expectations. But coming from a woman like her, that is really traditional and really has done the work to be such a good person and a good dating prospect, it's like I'm not even bothered by her having high expectations, if that happens to be the case, right? And again, I think that a lot of men wouldn't care about this. Of course, there are men who are really strict about it, and they care about the exact age, they don't make exceptions and all that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just your preferences, right? But overall, I think that men will rather prefer a woman that is 28 but has a lot to offer and is there for the long run, than a woman who is 20 but already has a higher body count or is not so sure about what she wants to do. Because there's this idea of men, women saying, oh man, it's literally impossible, they demand so many things out of us, they want so much, in this day and age, in this culture, in this economy, it's impossible to please them. No, it isn't. Men don't, really, this behavior that I mentioned, this is why I told the story of how she reacted to me in the restaurant, is to show you that that's what's needed. And again, she didn't do this because she likes me, it was just what she will do for any person that she views is feeling lonely or whatever, right? It's just friendly behavior. That's what men want. They want friendly behavior, to see that you are nurturing, to see that you think about other people and not about yourself all the time, right? I don't think that's hard to achieve, guys. That is just being a good person. If that is somehow hard to achieve, society is doomed, right? And again, this woman puts effort into her looks. She looks well and well dressed. She also has a nice personality to be around. She's pleasant. She's not nagging. She's not one of these women that loses their temper or shouts, is loud, you know. That's what men want. I don't think this is something extraordinary. Now, in our society, it is because you don't see it too often, but it shouldn't, right? And again, I think that men wouldn't have a problem with women having high expectations when they meet those expectations themselves, when they have put in the effort, right? I don't think men have a problem with that. I don't think men have a problem with age. When you know, when you ask the woman, why are you single up until that age, and she's not ashamed to give you an answer. She's not trying to hide the fact that she's been around the block with half the town, and she's the town bicycle. And instead of making up excuses or lying about her body count, she can just tell you, well, I've had 1 or 2 relationships, they didn't work. I didn't want to deal with any of the other men who would waste my time, so this is why I've been single up until 28. You know, it's a good answer. And that's the case. Gentlemen, tell me what you think about that. But now, gentlemen, let's move on to another topic that is in the same vein. And it is why it's so hard for men to date nowadays. Because I've been thinking about this a lot, and of course there are a lot of reasons you could talk about. But I'm going to talk about one that happens even when dealing with good women, alright? We're not talking anymore about why it's so hard dating, given that every second woman is a radical womanist with red hair and absolutely masculine. No, I'm talking about the issues that you face even when dealing with decent women. And it is that I think that being a man and the things you provide nowadays in the dating aspect are just under-recognized, you know, because I think that in the past, women needed men more, and the things that men did were valued, they were appreciated. So, for example, the bills that men paid in the past were so much more valuable because you didn't have both men and women working. Men will fix things around the house or will pay the bills. It was socially accepted and socially good to be masculine. And nowadays, everything is an attack on men. Being masculine is not good anymore. It's associated with being aggressive or being, you know, bad-tempered or things like this. It's just a constant attack on masculinity. Men are just labeled all the time as thinking about only one thing. They are labeled as lazy, you know, and you get men nowadays, we've seen this on the channel, that are good men, that are rich, that are fit, that are doing this and that. But still these women, some 40-year-old woman that doesn't have anything to offer, doesn't see them as viable options. Why? Because they don't happen to be the top 5%, all right? It's like, even if you are a good man, which is really hard to achieve nowadays because of all the bias, even if you happen to be one, you're not the top 5% of men, all right? Because dating apps have ruined dating. They have given all these women that don't deserve options at all. They've given them plenty of options, yeah? And you have this phenomena where beggars become choosers, where women have just become so picky, and it reflects upon the general idea of men. And now even the good men are not enough. You know what I mean? So it's under-recognized, the things that men do. Because in the past, again, just men's work was valued way more. Men were needed, and women admitted that they need men, and that men provide certain things that no one else can provide, and that it's a good thing. Not only men, also women. In the past, you know, the expectations towards women were higher, and nowadays they're not. In the past, for example, men expected women to be way more traditional than nowadays, way more nurturing, to do more work around the house. You will see mothers often told their daughters how to catch men, you know, how to be a good wife, how to be noticed by men, and they will teach them all these skills and abilities and assets that will make them attractive to men. While nowadays men really don't request all those things. They don't demand them. They don't even expect them, right? It's like a shocker. So you see this colleague I talk about, it's a shocker that you have a woman like this nowadays. Not because it's something extremely rare to achieve, but it's because it's rare in our society, you know? So the standards for men have dropped. And all this is to say that when men get into relationships, they are still expected to be the type of gentleman from the 14th century, right? They're still expected to do all that, because if you don't happen to be a top percentage of men, women won't recognize you. They won't see you as a dating option at all. While for women, it's the total opposite. It's like, please, be feminine, all right? Don't have a septum piercing the size of an apple on your nose. Please don't have a body count in the triple digits, I beg to God. Please don't cheat on me, yeah, with a neighbor. Things like that. It's just, the whole thing is upside down. And where I think that in the past it used to be somehow balanced, nowadays it just sucks. The balance is out. And look, women have always demanded more things out of men. I understand that, I get that, it's absolutely natural and normal. But nowadays it is just taken to a point that, let me boil the whole argument down. The juice is not worth the squeeze. It's expected out of men to do so many things, to become the, you know, something resembling a servant, while out of women, nothing is expected. The women in the past used to listen to their men a lot more. The word of a man had way more value. You know, it was think of the man as the head of the family. Nowadays, you don't have that. Nowadays, if you try to have that, you'll be labeled as controlling and all those things, you know, abusive and whatever not. And it's like, I have to put way more effort than my grandfather did to get a woman who is way worse as a dating option than my grandmother was. You know, it's like, man, it's women are so ungrateful towards the thing that men do. And not only the bad women, it's even the good women, because of society, because of the culture. They have grown accustomed to this. I'm not saying they're bad, or that this phenomenon should make you not even care about the good women as well. No, I'm just saying that men feel underappreciated, you know. And from what I've noticed, guys, leave me your thoughts below. But one of the things that men most value in a relationship is to feel valued, you know, to feel needed. Because men, we are accustomed to be loved when we do things, right? No man expects to be loved just by the mere fact of existing. We don't get that. But when we do things, we like to feel appreciated and valued. And nowadays, it just doesn't happen. We see all these women on TikTok saying how the bare minimum is. And then she quotes like 27 things that only 2% of society can achieve. Again, it's really ungrateful. It's really under-recognized, the things that men do. And yes, I'll be the first one to admit men nowadays are not what they used to do, used to be before, excuse me. There are multiple studies done on how men today have so much lower testosterone than they did in the past, right? Because of the food, because of the chemicals, because of the water, the air, and everything else. So yes, I see a lot of men that just want to play video games all day and don't care about nothing. I'm not saying that literally every man deserves to be appreciated and valued like he's a conqueror, whatever not. No, I'm just saying that the men who do the work, the men who are good options, the men who are traditional, they are being underappreciated in such a manner that even if they want to have a relationship, even if they want to pursue a family, they don't feel good in it, because wives have become too bossy, they have become too opinionated, too argumentative. And look, I honestly believe that it's always been the case, all right? No matter how much they say that men are the heads of the family, it's women who end up ruling them in the end. And look, when it's balanced, it can be a good thing. It's a funny thing, I think. But again, when you take it to the extreme, we just have this situation, this phenomenon where as a man, you have to do so much work. For what? Like, for what? For intimacy? Well, men can get that nowadays from multiple ways. In multiple ways, you know? Thanks to women. You can thank women for that. While in the past, men had to provide and do things and show that they're committed to get intimacy. Not anymore, gentlemen. Nowadays, intimacy is right there on Tinder. You can just go and you'll find all the 30-year-olds desperate for a man. If you happen to be attractive, it's going to be the easiest thing you've ever done. It's the easiest time to have intimacy. Well, quote-unquote intimacy. On Tinder, you're not going to find a lot of quote-unquote intimacy, but you can get a lot of S3X dolls, right? Right there, ready for you if you buy them a McDonald's meal or a flower or something like that. So it's like the whole culture has changed in such a way that you have to do way more work. You get less in return for that work. And not only that, but it's like the things that you're supposed to get from a marriage, you can get from any other way. Excuse me, in any other way, right? From any other place. You can exchange the intimacy that you will get, that you will get from a marriage for Tinder. And instead of spending tons of money on a woman, you can spend it on yourself, which I wouldn't advise to do. I don't think that's the proper way to live. I don't think you should give up because of the situation. But you definitely see why a lot of men do, right? You understand it. It's like for a lot of men, it's just not worth the squeeze, man. All this work. And you still risk a lot by getting married. You can have your children taken away from you any moment, any day, for no reason at all. Okay? For no reason at all. It's just such a big risk, such a low reward for that risk. And even when there's no risk involved, because your woman is decent, you still have to put in so much work to get so little in return. I'm not meaning to be demeaning to women. I'm not meaning to say that they don't have anything to offer or that the decent ladies provide barely nothing at all. No, I'm just saying that by the mere nature how things work, it's women that get more things out of a relationship, right? Women get to feel secure, they get protection, providing, they get attention to detail and all those things they demand. Men just don't demand anything barely at all, right? Men demand just please be there and be pleasant, and that's it. So men by default get less out of a relationship. And again, men have never cared about that. Men have never expected women to show up to a relationship and provide 4,000 different things. No. But nowadays, because of the nature of it, it has grown to a point where it is absurd. Because men by default have low expectations. Women nowadays, by default, the average woman has nothing to offer in most of the cases. And you get this thing where you expect more out of me. It's like, holy crap, man. You have to be Superman. You have to be a top 5% of men. For what? to get the average woman that doesn't offer anything, there is a risk, there is a liability that can take the things you fought for up until today for no apparent reason at all when she gets divorced. Like all of this, gentlemen, I've been thinking about it, right? And I think this is why, not talking about the massive red flags anymore, but even talking about the decent women is just because of the culture, because of how things work and their nature, we've come to a point where really it's so demanding for a man to work the dating aspect, right? And it's so ungrateful. You know, women, the attitude they have for what men do makes men feel underappreciated, undervalued, unnecessary in a lot of the cases, right? But hey, that are my thoughts, guys. I'll close the video here. I feel like I had more things to say or that could have framed them better, but because I'm doing this in one go, I forgot a few things, but it's alright. It's better because you can say them in the comments below. If you feel like I've missed something, if you feel like one of the points could have been developed better, please leave me your opinion down below. I'll be happy to read it, and it will make more of a discussion than a monologue. So thank you for watching, gentlemen. I'll leave you off here and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.